any guesses as to what book I'm going to be talking about today, purely based on this hint right in here. Today I'm going to be discussing Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli, and this book is about a boy named Simon, and he hasn't come out to anyone about his sexuality of being gay, and someone overlooks on him writing emails to a particular person who hides under the name of Blue and finds out about his sexual orientation. This book is basically about how people struggle with coming out to their friends and family towards their sexual orientation, particularly those who are gay or bi. For them it's very hard to have to announce that, and the fact that they have to announce that to people is wrong in so many ways, because people who are straight don't have to announce that they're straight, you know, it's not a big deal, which I actually think was a beautiful thing that Becky subtly touched on in this story. For me though, I am 21 years old and I really do think I'm starting to fall out of contemporary novels. I don't know why, I don't like them as much as I did when I was in high school reading them. Like, for me, I love being cheesy, but when I'm reading contemporary novels, they don't feel real enough, if that makes any sense. Please let me know if that makes any sense, if you agree with me. But a lot of contemporary novels that I read, they don't feel raw enough for me to really relate to the story. It doesn't feel like I'm able to connect enough. Whereas, it's really weird, but when I'm reading fantasy books, which I absolutely love, it's my favourite genre, fantasy, for some reason I'm much more able to connect with that than contemporary novels. For example, this one. Also, my problem with this book was it took me a long time to get into it. I think because Becky named Simon's dog Bieber, that really annoyed me, because it just... for me, it was so unnecessary. Why did his dog have to be named after Justin Bieber? Like, why is that a necessary fact to put in? But that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion, it's fine. But after 100 pages, I finally started to really enjoy this book. I really liked the emails between Simon and Blue. I found them really beautiful. And they were probably the most engaging part for me. And the fact that this whole book we were trying to discover who is actually Blue, because Blue is a code name, like Blue is an undercover name, we don't know who Blue is. So it was really interesting to be like, who is Blue? And I knew whilst reading, I knew who it was straight away, and I was like, hey, wait a second. But we'll go into the spoilery section of this video and we'll talk more about that. So if you have read this book, or if you just want to stay and hear my spoilery stuff, well, here we go in 3, 2, 1. Leah, the character Leah, I didn't like her. I'm going to be straight off the bat. I did not like her. She got really annoying within this book for me, which is why I'm kind of like iffy towards whether I want to read the sequel, Leah on the Offbeat, because obviously it's surrounding Leah. But that being said, the good things that I liked about this book was finding out who Blue was, which was Bram. And I swear to God, I knew straight away. There was one line, like early on in this book, where they talked about Bram being shy. And I automatically went, that's gonna be Blue, that's gonna be Blue. And then at the end we found out, and I was like, I see, I got it. My favourite thing about this book was at the end we got a whole list of their emails, their early emails to each other, which I thought was just really beautiful, because as the story went on, I really was able to understand the characters a lot more, a lot better. So to have that at the end was actually so much better than having it like throughout. Obviously I liked it throughout as well, but having at the end was a really beautiful touch, in my opinion. So this is a note I wrote when I thought it was going to be Bram. Simon thinks Blue is Cal. I reckon it will be someone we won't expect at all. Is it Bram? And then I wrote when I found out. Oh my god, I called it. They made one reference to him being shy and I was all over it. Fuck yes. My observing skills are getting better. Getting better. I really liked on page 127 when Blue kind of discussed how he came out to his mum and how Simon helped him with overcoming that fear. I want to thank you. I didn't tell you this before, Jacquis, but you should really know that you're the reason I was able to do this. I wasn't sure I'd ever find the courage. It's really kind of incredible. I feel like there's a wall coming down and I don't know why and I don't know what's going to happen. I just know you're the reason for it. So thanks for that. Okay, this I absolutely loved on page 18. Simon was talking about how he ended up talking to Blue for the first time, how he saw something Blue had posted on Tumblr. It just kind of spoke to me, and I don't even think it was just the gay thing. I don't know, it was seriously like 5 lines, but it was grammatically correct and strangely poetic and just completely different from anything I'd ever read before. I guess it was about loneliness, and it's funny because I don't really think of myself as lonely. But there was something so familiar about the way Blue described the feeling. It was like he had pulled the ideas from my head. Like the way you can memorize someone's gestures but never know their thoughts. And the feeling that people are like houses with vast rooms and tiny windows. The way you can feel so exposed anyway. The way he feels so hidden and so exposed about the fact that he's gay. I felt strangely panicked and self-conscious when I read that part, but there was also this quiet thrum of excitement. He talked about the ocean between people and how the whole point of everything is to find a shore worth swimming to. I really like the description of the feeling that people are like houses with vast rooms and tiny windows. That was a beautiful image. Loved that. So this is exactly what I was talking about on page 55. As far as I know, coming out isn't something that straight kids generally worry about. And that was in my head for a long time. It kind of still is. How there is so much stigma behind the fact that people have to come out about their sexuality. Like, why does that have to be such a serious thing that causes people, teenagers, kids, to live in fear of having to tell like their true sexual orientation? This is also part of it on page 56. I'm tired of coming out. All I ever do is come out. I try not to change, but I keep changing in all these tiny ways. I get a girlfriend, I have a beer, and every frickin' time I have to reintroduce myself to the universe all over again. This was very interesting on page 63. Wednesday is Gender Bender Day, which basically amounts to Southern straight people cross-dressing. It's definitely not my favourite. I never thought about this. In my entire life, I have never thought about how wrong it kind of is towards those days back in high school where men would dress in women's clothing and women would dress in men's clothing. Like there would be a switch in sex. I never thought about how wrong that was until reading this line introducing us to chapter 7. This is also part of it on page 65. It would be weirdly conspicuous if I didn't cross-dress, at least a little bit today. It's funny how it ends up being the straightest, preppiest, most athletic guys who go all out for gender bender. I guess they feel secure enough in their masculinity that they don't care. I actually hate when people say that. I mean, I feel secure in my masculinity too. Being secure in your masculinity isn't the same as being straight. This was so great. On page 145, this was an email from Simon to Blue. That's so weird the way your parents told you, like they were both in on it. I guess he wanted to give your mum a heads up first or something, and then he was nervous to tell you. It's like he's our age telling his parents he knocked someone up, which is totally the straight person equivalent of coming out. As a side note, don't you think everyone should have to come out? Why is straight the default? Everyone should have to declare one way or another. It should be this big awkward thing whether you're straight, gay, bi or whatever, I'm just saying. A character I wish we had more of was Miss Albright. She's cool. I love this on page 192. She walks over to me and squats down in front of my platform. You okay, Simon? I feel myself blush a little bit. I'm fine. Okay, well, she says quietly, just know that those assholes are getting suspended. I'm not even kidding. I will make it my hill to die on. Abby, Brianna, and I just stare at her. It's the first time I've ever heard a teacher cuss. Legend. And the last thing that I dog tagged in my book was on page 293. Bram was right. People really are like houses with vast rooms and tiny windows, and maybe it's a good thing the way we never stop surprising each other. So that was Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda. I quite enjoyed this book, but I'm also kind of like, I don't know if I want to read the sequel to it. And I really feel like I'm losing my love for contemporary novels. I don't know if that's just me. Please let me know what you think about this book as well as contemporary stuff. I don't know if I'm just maturing and becoming into this person who's like, I need real, raw stuff. I hate the bullshit. I hate the lies. I hate the unrealistic stuff that comes out of some books. I don't know if that's just me, but please let me know what you think. I did enjoy this book though, so if you did too, I'm really glad. And yeah, so as usual, bye!